message on fentanyl in our communities.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio. Download the app so you don't miss out what's popping with Crack Shining. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to be, being supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all. A lot to talk about. You know, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam Thursday at 4 p.m.
What's going on, world? It's your boy, OG Mambo.
And your guy, D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself.
Here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
Every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
A new law is helping people save more money on prescription drug costs. You may also be able to save with Medicare's Extra Help program. Your premium cost can be zero and your out-of-pocket expenses are low. Who should apply? Single kids earning less than $23,000 a year, or married couples earning less than $2,000 a year. Even if you don't think you qualify, you should still check out this program. Visit ssa.gov/extra help. Medicare costs are covered by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not busy tearing the roof off the suckers, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Real Estate and Money, where we talk about everything real estate and money. Let me find out what's going on with my friend V. I'll be here right now, but Violeta is joining us here shortly. Hopefully, everybody is having a good start to the spring. We are now in full swing of spring, which means it is the number one time of year for people to buy homes, buy and sell homes. So, look what I have behind me. I have a beautiful array of tulips and daffodils. It's going to be tulip season there in Skagit County, up there in Washington State, and hopefully you'll get a chance in the 3 weeks in which these beautiful flowers are displayed. You'll be able to get up there and enjoy a tiptoe through the tulips. So before Violeta gets here, we're going to be talking about spring. We're going to be talking about selling your home and either moving up or selling your home and moving down. And what do I mean by that? Maybe you have a house with 1 or 2 bedrooms and you're expecting another child, or somebody else in your extended family is going to be moving in. So you want to sell the property that you're in and maybe go into a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom and maybe more square footage. And that's what we mean by moving up. When we say moving down, it may be an empty nester situation where you have kids who have gone off to college, and where you used to have 5 bedrooms, now you only want a 1-bedroom townhome in the middle of downtown Denver or Seattle. So that's called moving up and moving down. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we go into that, we want to talk about what's going on in the news. Actually, there has been some big changes in the FHA world as far as financing. Now, when people get loans, there are classically 3 or 4 giant big distributors of loans, and that would be Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and VA. The 5th arm would be non-QM loans, or loans that don't fit into those categories and need extended alternative financing. So today we're going to be talking about FHA. While I was in Washington, D.C. last week, FHA actually came out with a new guideline that prohibits people with green cards or with DACA status to be eligible for an FHA loan. This right here is a pretty big ordeal in the world of finance, because a lot of African Americans, a lot of Hispanics, or Latinos actually use FHA financing. So it's quite a discerning blow. And Daniel, I'm going to bring up a link. I just sent you a link regarding this. And one of the reasons why they are trying to change the rules, the guidelines for FHA, is because supposedly they are cracking down on government-backed mortgages for illegal aliens. So I don't know about any truth behind that, but we'll take a look really quick here. Yes, exclusive. HUD cracks down on government-backed mortgages for illegal aliens. Now, I have been doing loans for 33 years. I do a lot of loans in Seattle that actually, there's a borrower or co-borrower who actually uses a green card. And the Filipino community is quite prevalent, especially if you're trying to get your documentation here for citizenship. Here it says, exclusive, HUD cracks down on government-backed mortgages for illegal immigrants. I'm not sure what that has to do with people who hold green cards. And also for DACA, people who were born here in the United States and their parents perhaps were not documented as legal aliens. So this is a big blow. Let's read this a little bit. The Department of Housing and HUD Development announced on Wednesday that non-permanent residents will no longer be eligible for Federal Housing Administration FHA mortgages. National Review has learned part of the broader effort by the administration to ensure that American citizens are prioritized under taxpayer-funded housing programs following massive flow of illegal immigration under former President Joe Biden. I'm going to pause for a second, because I think that is a pile of steaming hot BS. If for whatever reason you do need to get a loan, you can actually qualify for a conventional loan. You can qualify for a VA loan if you've got VA benefits. You can qualify for non-QM loans. And when I say non-QM, I mean loans that are not offered by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to send another link here. I want you to know that this isn't something that just hit one news station and they're announcing it. It's actually everywhere. So I just sent you another link there for a second, Daniel, to look at this. And this is the official. Well, actually, it says the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development breaking. HUD cracks down on government-backed mortgages for illegal immigrants. Now, when is this taken to go into effect? It doesn't go into effect until May. So if you do have, I don't have the correct date on here, but sometime at the end of May, if you are approved for an FHA loan and your case number or letter case number has been issued before this May 10th changeover, then you're going to be fine. And if you do have a green card and you're looking to get FHA financing, you want to do that. You want to get approved before May, the end of May. Here it says here, it will take effect on May 25th. So, whenever you do an FHA loan, we actually go in there and get a case number from FHA that has your name, your social security number, your application, and that lender case number is usually attached to a property. As long as you are issued that number before May 25th, you'll be able to get FHA financing. So if you're sitting on the fence and you're hemming and hawing and you don't know what to do, just go ahead and get approved for a loan and see if you can find a house really quickly. And now, just because FHA does not allow for green cards, that does not mean the rest of the world will not allow, because you can actually get financing from other types of lending. Thank you so much for that, Daniel. So what we're finding, here in Denver, it's a little bit different from Seattle, but we do have a large immigrant population from South America that are here. And not only is this hitting them as far as getting loans, it's very, very hard. It's said that the administration is basically just taking the bad people back to Mexico or Venezuela, wherever they are. What's going on is there's terror going on. A lot of people in restaurants who are working in restaurants don't want to show up to work. A lot of people are not bringing their kids into school. A lot of people are not going on these contractor jobs. There's a lot of laborers that have little or not a lot of documentation. So a lot of laborers here in Denver and the surrounding areas, a lot of work is not getting done. So this FHA ruling that just came out is another punch to the gut, in my opinion. This is in my humble opinion. In my 33 years of doing loans, I've done a lot of loans for people with green cards. I have a lot of relatives with green cards. I have a lot of friends with green cards. A lot of kids are DACA. So it's just another blow. But I tell you what, if you get to somebody like me that actually knows everything about loans, and we can get you around this. If you can qualify for an FHA loan, you can qualify for a conventional loan. It may be a little bit tighter, but nonetheless, you can still qualify for a loan. So don't let this bother you in any way whatsoever. When we do loans, we actually look for documentation. We ask for your driver's license or passport, or if you have a government or another identification from your country, such as a passport from Mexico or from France or the Philippines, wherever you're at, you usually can get a loan. A lot of times it'll ask you on your application, are you a U.S. citizen? Are you a permanent resident alien? Are you a non-resident, or do you not have citizen status here in the United States? Either way, we can get you a loan. We do loans for people who come from Canada, who come from England, who come from, all parts of Africa, the Middle East. Anywhere in the world, if you are a foreign national, you can still get a loan here. So them stripping away FHA is not going to stop you from getting a loan. It's just going to make you have a different option. You just won't have that on the table. So you want to make sure that you do talk to a lender that can pivot. Now, what's the difference between an FHA loan and a conventional loan? Well, conventional loan, if you do have the right type of credit score, if you have usually 700 or 680 and above, you can get a home loan, first-time home buyer for 3% down. If you have bought another home in the last 3 years, or you've owned another home in the last 3 years, you have to put 5% down. FHA, it's 3.5% down. And so the difference is maybe a half a point more with FHA. FHA usually, classically, has lower rates than conventional. So let's say that a conventional rate right now is 7.125. Well, an FHA rate may be 6.5 or 6.2. So FHA is classically 0.75 lower, or sometimes a whole point lower. The mortgage insurance for an FHA is at 0.55 or 0.50 if you put less than 5%. Less than 5%, over 5% down. The mortgage insurance is 0.50. For conventional, depending on your credit score, if your credit score is 780, maybe you'll get like a 0.21 mortgage insurance rating that you have to pay. Or if you have a 660 score, you may have a 0.89% of mortgage insurance you have to pay. So it's higher. Mortgage insurance is a sliding scale. Whereas FHA, whether you have a 625 score or a 780 score, the mortgage insurance is the same. FHA does have more flexible lending guidelines. So if you qualify for, let's say, 500,000 in conventional, you're usually going to get maybe 525, 530 with FHA. FHA actually has a debt-to-income ratio that is a lot higher than a conventional loan. So conventional loans, 43% usually of your income can go towards all your debt, including your mortgage. With FHA, it is usually, I've seen as high as 55 or 59%. VA, I just closed a loan at 89% debt-to-income ratio. So conventional has a little bit of tightening when it comes to getting a loan, but there's still ways around that. So Daniel, do we have V on now?
Hi.
There you
Hi,
are,
everyone. I had a critical question I needed to answer with a client. Sorry, folks.
Okay,
I'm here.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, this light is blinding me. I'm like tearing up because of this light. Not because of FHA guidelines, but because this light is getting to me, and I don't have dry eye medicine. Okay.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't see you. Usually,
but when we see you, you look absolutely fabulous.
Oh, please,
I have to step up my game.
I'm sure you're gorgeous as always. But I was listening to your talk about FHA versus conventional credit scores, all that, and the what's happening with the FHA loans right now. So very interesting stuff. Got to pay attention to what's happening with our economy.
Yeah.
Real estate, with market trends, all that. And we're here also to talk to you about how hot the spring market is.
Yes.
For me, it's hot. It's kind of busy right now. And so, yeah, I want to talk to you about upsizing, downsizing. And let's just take a look real quick at what's happening. February 2025. I'm looking at, people are out there. They've been in their home for quite a while. They want to downsize. Well, I am seeing a lot of people downsizing, right?
Right.
We're of that age group that, we're getting older, and our kids were almost empty nesters or are empty nesters. And you don't need to rattle around in a 4,000 square foot home. So you want to downsize to like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. So you have a room for yourself with an ensuite, and also you're looking at what was I going to say? A like an office. One of those 3 bedrooms could be an office, and then a guest room, or for the 2 additional rooms for when your kids come home and hang out.
Yeah, the grandkids come over.
Yeah, and then the grandkids will be coming over. So you don't need a lot of space. I'm seeing a lot of 3-bedroom, 2+ bathroom sales right now. And in looking at King County, the list price right now, median list price is $825,000. Sold price at $848,000. And year-to-year change, it's up 6% from last year. And days on the market around 18 days to get these homes moving. Pierce County, we're looking at $600,000 for the same 3-bedroom, 2+ bathrooms. 555 is the sold price in Pierce County, and that's up 4.3% from last year, with an average days on the market at 32. And then in Snohomish County, we're looking at $767,000 for that size home, and $750 is the sold price. So you're looking at list versus sold, 3.3% increase from last year. 15 days on the market there. And I have some pictures of homes, Daniel, in this downsizing arena. Are you showing that?
Yes, he is showing the Beacon Hill and the Graham and Snohomish.
Yeah. Yes. And
Nice.
Look at those. They're nice homes. And I've seen some new construction in Pierce County that's around that price range. So I'm taking a look at that price point, $825 for King, $600 for Pierce, and Snohomish, $767. So I did an average there for Snohomish County, but take a look at these homes that are, I can't see them, but I know
they're beautiful.
They're nice. So, there's things to be had out there. And if you're downsizing, look what you can get. And Tina's ready for you to qualify you for any kind of loan. And actually, she will find you the right type of loan for your situation.
Yeah, and V, I'm glad you put that just really quick. A lot of people are retiring. So make sure you get your new house before you retire. Because when you retire, your income goes in half. Or at least,
Yep.
So I have some people right now, V, they're downsizing. And they're like, well, I'm going to retire next month. So I want to buy a house in the fall. I'm like, no, please don't do that, because then you no longer have your income. I'm telling people, I've got like 2 or 3 people are holding off. I'm like, do not retire until we refinance your home.
Or, you've told me to do not change your jobs, right?
Yes.
I told people that. Don't be doing that. Don't be changing what your income is doing right now.
Yes.
Or else you won't qualify.
Do it.
Yeah, I know. And what else is happening? It's just spring is in the air here.
Spring is in the air. Yeah.
But it's cold. Didn't you tell people you had hail?
Oh yeah. I looked outside just like a while ago while I was on the phone with Violeta, and there was like hail coming down. I'm like, what's going on? It was like 80 degrees last week. But
wow, really? 80?
It's insane. No, but
we had some hailstorm blow through here. I saw none of it here where I am, where I live. There's nothing, but in other parts of the area, they had hail.
Yes. We say Colorado's bipolar because it's like 80 degrees one day and it's a snowstorm the next day. Yeah. When was it? Was Thursday, Saturday night? Yeah, we had snow. I was coming down from Boulder like around 11 o'clock, and there was snow everywhere on the freeway. Everybody's caught in short pants and stuff. But no, I want to talk really quick about my trip to Washington, D.C.
Yes, cool.
Yes, yes. So I went with the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, NAREB, and they had we had a hotel a block away from the White House. Didn't realize that. Caught an Uber, spent $20 to take us around the corner. But I found out, maybe we could have walked, But it was a housing summit. And so every year, the Hispanic summit was when we went last week. And then there is an Asian summit that takes place in May. So I went with the Asian Real Estate Association a couple of years ago. But this time was wonderful. We actually broke up in groups. We represented all the different states NAREB was in. And we made appointments with our representatives and our congressmen. And we talked about the housing issues in our area. And I was paired up with Congressman Jason Crow, and with Representative Gabe Evans. And we talked about housing as it affects our community. Both of them were very, very receptive to what we were saying, and they were kind of shocked. A lot of them were shocked. They had no idea what was going on with the immigrants here in Colorado. So they were like, oh gosh, here's our email. Give me some instance. They're not supposed to be rounding up people unless they're criminals. We're like,
yeah.
Okay. They're taking anybody this color, and they're asking questions later. So, oh, there you go. Yes, there you go. So that's me in front of the White House. That is me in front of the White House. And we're dancing around and singing all that type of stuff. But yeah, we were able to go out, walk around the White House for several days, rip on Capitol Hill. And oh yeah. Yeah, there's Donald Trump in the back. Yeah, but yes, we did a lot of crazy things. Yes, there's Natalia. She's the president of NARWEP this year, and next year was Lisa, who was the president of NARWEP here in Colorado a couple of years ago. So yeah, we had it. Yeah, there's me in the White House. We had a great time. Yes, there's Lisa. Okay. So I haven't told them I'm not Hispanic yet, but it's okay. I know. But I mean, it was something else when you're on the Hill. It's just magical. I mean, everybody's running around in nice suits. The Capitol is the most amazing building. It is just astronomical. And then we saw the monument and we saw the cherry blossoms. But to go and talk to the reps, and you can just walk down the hall. There's Nancy Pelosi's office. There's all these different reps and stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, And once you go through security, you get in, you walk around. For us Asians and Hispanics, we take a lot of selfies and a lot of pictures. But we were able to talk to them one-on-one and talk about housing as it affects here. And so we did get a couple of things accomplished. We asked the representatives to come to our events so they can actually meet the community firsthand. Well, sometimes we get caught up in our work and we never really know what's going on with the actual people. So we were able to get that across. So it was amazing. It was something that they do every single year. So I also am the vice president of the National Hispanic Construction Alliance here in Colorado. And we're in 9 states. And I'm trying to get Violeta to be involved in the Washington State chapter. But it has to do with education and promoting, teaching Latinos and other people who would like to join about how to be bonded, how to get licensed, how to get your education, how to actually win permits and win jobs, and how to do workers' comp and how to get gainfully employed instead of working for a general contractor, you actually finding your job. So it is something that is working. They were saying how Hispanics and Asians are outpacing population-wise the rest of the general population. They also were talking about how Latinos actually make up a great deal of the labor workforce here in the United States. Yeah. And surprisingly, they say 34% or 30-something% of all labor trades are held by women.
Really?
So, which is interesting. And so,
wow.
The National Hispanic Construction Alliance, we actually have got some programs for women contractors who want to be developers. Not only want to be contractors, so they're already contractors, but how they can get into development stages and how they can learn how to be developers and win those bids and win those developments. So that's something that we talked about too when we were in Washington, D.C.
That's awesome.
So Gary Acosta, the president of the National Hispanic Association, he was there, and some leaders of the founders of ARIA actually showed up to the event in Washington, D.C. to support the Hispanic community. So it was really nice. I was like, hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? They're like, what are you doing here? But we all kind of came, even the Asian Real Estate Association, and the Hispanic, very tightly knit. We have political issues, we have housing issues that we are both trying to, the challenges that we're all trying to champion. And so it was a very, very wonderful event. So Violeta, next year, I hope you can come with one of the events, either the Asian Real Estate Association or Hispanic.
Sure,
but it's a way to really get involved. So that was a wonderful trip. I'll show more pictures next week.
Oh yeah, more pictures.
Yeah, but I was telling people, that March is usually like for construction. Sometimes it's 30 to 40% of all their business happens in March, and then now we're in April, so it's starting to just come off a little bit. But as far as moving, why do you think a lot of these people are moving in the spring? Why do you think?
Well, because they're getting ready for the end of school. Looking for something new. Is that what you're talking about? The consumers?
Yes.
Yeah, and because they want to be in probably a new place so that they can go to a fun summer vacation, not have to worry about this. And then when they come back from summer break, then they're ready to go to school in their new neighborhood or whatever it is. And that's why the big flooding of families. Yeah.
I mean, it's really rare for people to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, in that case, we're looking at upsizing. So we'll talk about that next time too, upsizing from families that have, newlyweds having a baby or two, and then, need more room. So we'll talk about upsizing. And these are school-age kids we're talking about now. Maybe going to a different school, and you got to time it right, don't you think? Because kids
that's
a little
exactly
cranky.
It. Yeah, you can't be moving
away from their friends.
I know. I mean, it's really hard for them if you move like in October or November. They've already started the school year, And so
Yeah.
a lot of times in the spring, you get approved in the spring, March, April, May, and then in June you start making those offers, and then you move 30 days after that. So now, if you find a house now in April, you'll probably close in May. Or if you find a house, you don't just get approved the next day you find a house. Usually it takes like 2 or 3 weeks. So if you start your home buyer search now, then maybe in June you'll get into the house. But that's what Via is saying. A lot of times you time it for school. You don't want your kids starting a new school and then pulling them out. This is a perfect time.
Right.
So as far as interest rates and stuff are concerned, did you have some stuff on interest rates, V?
Oh, I was just going to say that I looked at Freddie Mac. I always check every Thursday on the FreddieMac.com site. You can take a look at what's happening, and they publish it every Thursday. So last Thursday, the 30-year fixed is at a 6.65, and then the 15-year fixed is 5.89. And, Tina went over why interest rates differ from person to person, or, buyer to buyer, because there are so many different factors that will determine that interest rate. And you went over a bunch of that. I kind of
Well, some of it, I mean, it's stuff like not only not only credit score, but sometimes it has to do with, let's say somebody has $100,000 in their account. Sometimes people only have $700 in their checking account. So the amount of reserves is a certain risk factor. It has to do with your employment. It has to do with your county and your state. So somebody with the exact same profile in Washington State, their interest rate may be different from somebody in Oklahoma in a different county, and it varies by county too. So, but like what V was saying with FreddieMac.com, I mean, that's a good place to get an indicator. Very good place just to figure out where things are at. They're in the sixes. Okay, I could do that. But and then you can buy the right down stuff. But right now we're starting to see a correction in the market. Like V was saying, it's been very, very busy. I took more applications. Last week I took like 4 applications in a week. Well, last year it was like 4 applications in like 2 months, a quarter or something like that. But a lot of people are saying, hey, the rates are coming down, but they're not coming down fast enough. But whatever, I can't wait any longer. I need to get my house.
Exactly.
It's, and then we're fighting I don't know if you're fighting this too, but there are some deals out there right now. Some houses came down. Yeah.
I'm looking at those homes that I just posted and the prices on them, and I'm going, wow, that's a nice house for something like that. And if you go further away from, King Pierce, Snohomish, which I have actually some buyers that are doing that right now because they don't want to pay the exorbitant property tax in these 3 counties, right? So we're looking in Kitsap, and there's a lake home for $850,000. And, it's beautiful.
Wow.
It's near a golf course. It's a quiet little community in this place called Allen, Washington. Oh. Never heard of it, never been there, but I was so shocked to see, all these different little communities out there, and great place to either retire or, they grow kids out there too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway. So Danny, we have an announcement, really quick announcement. Earth deserves more than a day goes down later this month, April 21st to 26th, with live environmental justice broadcasts daily on Rainier Avenue Radio from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you don't want to miss that. Leave your channel on Rainier Avenue Radio. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I think is that it? It's time, right, B?
Yeah. It's time. But if you have any questions, give us a call. I know the market's getting crazy, but you're always free to give us a call.
Again, I'm Violeta Strash with Coldwell Banker Danforth.
Tina Lombard with Texana Bank. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.